Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're taking a look at Wuthering Waves. Now, I didn't get access to this. It is a technical test. It's not even a beta test yet, so I think it's still going to be a fair while before the game actually launches, but it gives us a good look at what it has. It does seem to be open world. I did say MMO. They on their Twitter and stuff, they stated as an action, I believe it's like an action RPG with MMO features. So it's not a full-fledged MMO. And sorry if I misled anyone in my previous videos with that. And for the footage that I am using in this video, I have to give two big shout outs. Some of it is going to come from Tomias, who actually has access to the game. So make sure you jump over, support him, probably get more content out on the game. So he would be the man to watch for that. Also, Chaotic. Chaotic did a watch party. Unfortunately, Chaotic was unable to get into the test. However, he did do like 5 hours of watching the Chinese players play the game. So that's where the rest of this footage comes out from. And Chaotic's one of those guys with all the connects over there for information and stuff like that. So here's another one that I would definitely subscribe to if you want to stay up to date with all the Wuthering Waves stuff as it comes. But this game, what do I think? So I've watched probably 2 hours worth of gameplay in it. It looks really clean. Now we've got to keep in mind that this is a technical test, so there may be a lot of stuff that's not in it. The world may not be fleshed out. We saw some things like the water around waterfalls and stuff. It really didn't look fleshed out, but those are minor things that will get worked on along the way. The main things that I want to talk about is basically the combat, because the combat is the big draw of this game, and you know, some of the other movement and stuff inside the game that I really like the look of. So first of all, the combat. Now, because this is Kuro game, who are the same developers as Punishing Grey Raven, I was really hoping for a Punishing Grey Raven type combat, and that looks like what we are getting. So they have gone away from the orb system in Punishing Grey Raven because, you know, if you've played that game, the orb system works really well on mobile. It sucks when you try and keybind that stuff. So what they've done is they've gone away from the orb system. They've gone to the cooldown type system. But the cool thing is that all the characters seem very unique. They've stayed true to Punishing Grey Raven in that sense. All the characters, obviously, until you play them, you won't fully feel it, but they all look like they operate different. Characters have different sort of energy bars down the bottom that tie into different passives, very similar to how Punishing Grey Raven operates. They have different abilities with different cooldowns. You have ranged units, you have melee units. There's a lot of different things on offer, which I really love. That's the first part of the combat that I like. The next thing is they have gone very Punishing Grey Raven style with the, you know, you get the perfect dodges. You've got the QTCs where you get a character drop out for a minute and help out your team. Not a minute, more like a second. But you can get those QTEs happening as well, if you remember that from Punishing Grey Raven. The other thing is that they looks like they have a parry system, which is really cool. Another really cool feature that we saw along the way was a targeting system, so you can lock on to the bosses and stuff like that with some sort of targeting system. Exactly how that will play, it's hard to watch a Chinese person play when you can't understand them and know exactly how they're doing it, but there will be a targeting system, which I think is really nice, especially when you start playing with ranged classes and stuff like that. So the combat looks incredibly smooth and enjoyable. My hope would be that as it develops, you know, they make harder and harder content. That's the one thing that I loved about Punishing Grey Raven was the content was scalable in difficulty. I'd like to see it go incredibly difficult. And, you know, hopefully they can bring those boss fight feels from Punishing Grey Raven over into this game. But at the same time, hopefully they can flesh out the world and make the open world feel more full. The thing that I've noticed with a bunch of the open world games that have been releasing is the world's just, the world feels like it's something that's in your way from between traveling to bosses. It may be fun to explore in the first little bit that you play, but then it just becomes something that you've got to tread along to get to the next thing you're trying to get to. I don't know how a game can actually do this, but I would love to see a game really flesh out the open world to make it like an enjoyable experience for the duration of the game, and not just at the start when you have a first little exploration. But like I said, combat, all in all, from what I can see, looks really clean. You know, I like the technicality side that they bring into it from Punishing Grey Raven. Those perfect dodges, the parries, that type of thing can be really useful. Then obviously you can gain iframes, you can dodge using certain abilities and stuff like that is going to be really enjoyable. Now, the next thing I want to look at is the movement. Now, I spoke about how I'd love to see a game really sort of develop that open world. One thing they have done to make the open world definitely feel more enjoyable, in my opinion, is their movement. And also, when you correlate that into combat, it's really cool. You know, you've got the grappling hooks that you can jump up with. Then you got the umbrella. The big thing for me is, yes, there is wall climbing. Wall climbing in these games is just a tedious thing to me, but they've added in the wall running. Now, the wall running just makes traversing just seem a lot more enjoyable and less tedious than, you know, slowly clambering up a wall. So the movement and the combat just seem really clean. Now, my big concern is where they're going to go from here with the rest of the fleshing out of the combat. What I would love to see is things like dungeons, where it's not just sort of walk through the dungeon, collect a chest, and you're done. I'd love to see dungeons kind of similar to the way World of Warcraft does them, where, you know, you've got some trash mobs that you kill, then you come up to a boss. Then as you clear through some more trash after that boss, you get to another boss that gets progressively harder. And then, you know, you get to the end of the dungeon and you've got like a mega boss that you've got to fight. And if you beat them, that is where you get the big loot. I would love to see systems like that implemented, where, you know, it's more of a fleshed out feel in the dungeons, where they feel more impactful and it's more of an achievement when you get it. But from the first technical test, that's what I want to remember. This is just a technical test, so keep in mind everything you're looking at, very, very subject to change, because it is so early in the development cycle of the game. Having said that, it did feel like, just watching it, it felt more advanced than a lot of betas that you see out there. So it's surprising how far they have come with this game so far, to be just doing a technical test now. So I am hoping that they do get like a beta out fairly soon. Hopefully we can get access to that when they do a beta. But, you know, provided all the technical numbers come back, you know, in line in this one, hopefully we do get a beta fairly soon. Waiting to see what type of multiplayer content there is going to be in the game. You know, they say it's an open world action RPG with MMO features. I'm keen to see exactly what that means and what the MMO features are talking about. I'm hoping it maybe, even if it's just instanced co-op, maybe, you know, we've got some other ideas of what it could be, but I'm definitely hoping there's at least some co-op. I know a lot of people don't want to see PvP. I'm a PvP boy, but I know it's probably not going to be in this game, and I'm not going to piss anyone off by saying I want it. So probably pissed people off already, but that is that. But like I said, all in all, this is looking like a really, really promising game that I can't wait to sink my teeth into. But yeah, you know, first impression, combat's great, movement's great, and the rest is, you know, fairly similar to other stuff that we've seen. So I'm hoping they can find their own niche in the way they deliver it on release. But still early days. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.